So I'm Dennis Stambaugh with the Olympia Indivisible Endorsement team, and today we're interviewing Ryan Sue, who
Hmm.
is a candidate for Lacey City Council, position 6, right?
Yep.
Um, so Ryan's out for a walk, so we,
Yeah.
we get to be entertained by the background in his neighborhood. This is great. So Ryan, could you start by just telling us why you want to be on the Lacey City Council and what you hope to accomplish?
Yeah. Sorry. So I would like to be on Lacey City Council because uh, I want to build a stronger, more resilient, and equitable community for uh, my family and my son, and for all the people of Lacey. I think it's super important in these times that we come together as a community and to be able to help each other out. Because when we fall down, the people around us are the ones who are going to pick us back up. And so, community is one of the bigger driving forces here for me, is to help that.
Okay. Um, I will tell you that your sound is a little shaky there.
Oh, okay. I will. Then I will. I'm just walking around the block, and I will stop at my house and hang out there instead. So,
Okay, all that came through completely clearly. Some of the
mhm,
other, it's like I can hear you, but the sound changes. So
mhm,
anyway, according to your questionnaire responses, you've been a Peace Corps volunteer, a
mhm.
small business owner, a
Yep.
teacher. Can you tell us a little more about those experiences and what occupies your time now?
Yeah, so in I went to Western Washington University and I studied sociology and political science. Graduated from there in 2006 and was planning on taking like a gap year before grad school. And then 2008 happened, and a lot of that grant money dried up for grad schools, and therefore getting scholarships for grad students. So at that time, I decided to go to join Peace Corps to get out and just experience and see the world. There, I served in Bulgaria from 2010 to 2012, and I was a community and organizational development volunteer, which are big fancy words that don't have a whole ton of meaning. It really is me in a village of about 500 people, just talking with them, seeing what they need and what they wanted help with. Some I mostly worked in a library there, helped with teaching some computer classes, was able to help secure a grant from the Global Libraries program, which was part of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And uh, and so helped get brand new computers in their library and was teaching kids how to type and do other things there. I also helped with some ecotourism, developing some trails, connecting different villages in the region around so tourists would come in for the beauty, hike around the mountains, and they could stay within like this connected like hotel and guest house set within that area for a few days and kind of increase tourism there, as well as some English classes with them for being able to treat and speak with foreign guests. After that, I went to after my time in the Peace Corps, I moved to Beijing, China, where I was teaching English to children, so ages between ages 3 and I think about 12. Though that was the oldest that they allowed in the program, but I think my oldest student was about 10 years old, and so I taught mostly after school and on weekends. Um, in China, and so I did that for about 18 months, and it was an incredible experience working with those kids and working with the local staff as well, developing lesson plans and getting everyone on board. Some of the things I did there outside of my normal teaching classes is I helped organize like teaching academies where different teachers from different schools would come together and we could share resources, teach each other different games that we could play with kids, different ways to learn, uh, different teaching materials and how to build different crafts with kids. It was really just that was an incredible experience. And then after that, I ended up coming back to the U.S. And I had bought into a share of an old coffee shop I worked at during college, and became a business owner there. I was one of two owners, and it was that was so incredible. I'm so grateful for that opportunity. It was also one of the times in my life I think I never worked harder as a small business owner. Anybody who has owned a small business knows that it's a job that you never get to clock out of, because even if you're not behind the counter or if you're not actively helping customers, there's always something else to do. And and that brought me down to I left owning that business in 2018 and moved down to Lacey with my family. And that was, in 2018. And at that time, I was just working as a barista. And about 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago now, I started working for the Washington State Office of Public Defense as a program analyst for the Parents Representation Program. And that's where I really kind of found my calling, is being able to help families and to help our community. Working in public defense is something that I can see differences and I can see changes happening with people in our community. And it kind of was one of those things that just clicked. It's quite amazing. And I love the work I do.
Okay, fantastic. Um, let's talk a little bit about housing, because in city government, people always want to know about housing and the homeless issues. And I noticed that in your questionnaire, you mentioned ownership as being important to you. Could you talk
Mhm.
to us a little bit about the issue in general and why ownership versus rentals?
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of house ownership, because one, it's a great way to build generational wealth. It's something that you can pass down to children. It's real estate is something you um, can pass down to future generations. And I think every family and every household should have an opportunity to own a home. We moved down here in 2018, and luckily, my wife had a job offer that was good enough for us to get a mortgage, to get an offer for a home loan. And so we were able to buy back then in 2018. If I were to try and buy our house right now, in 2025, we wouldn't be able to afford it, because in that time, since 2018 to now, our house value has increased 64%.
Oof.
It's just, yeah. And we live in like a 900 square foot townhome in Lacey. It's like very small, like postage stamp home. And it's just for it to increase that much, it's staggering. So I think home ownership is an opportunity that should be available to everyone. It builds generational wealth, and ultimately, I think it is a way that it helps families, it helps people build equity and wealth that they can take to other things. Being able to sit there and just pay rent, and rent's always going up. I've never seen rent go down. Um, and now some places are like, you have to make 3 times the monthly rent in order to even rent there. But those same people who are paying rents that are like more than our mortgage for the same size house can never save enough money to make a down payment. They're not building equity. They're not doing those things that are going to help them in the long run and help them build a stronger future. And that's why I think home ownership over rentals is more important. That said, I do believe that rentals have a space, and that needing more units and building more units is important in general, just because we do have a housing shortage at the moment. And so having the units available is half the battle. It's just getting more units.
Okay. Thank you. And just for your information, since I mentioned it the first time, your sound has sounded very good from then on. So no
Great.
problems at this point.
Yeah, I think I turned a quarter and I got hit with some wind, and so my mic was trying to
Ah,
not give you that sound. So I
okay.
have since gotten into a nice spot, and yeah, it's just pleasant to be outside.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about, as a former small business owner, do you think that Lacey is a good place for small businesses? And is there more that
Um,
can be done?
I definitely think there's more that needs to be done. I don't think it's necessarily a bad place to own a small business. I think one of the hardest things here is that there's no dedicated singular downtown. To not compare it with our neighbor, Olympia has a very well-defined, very localized downtown. There's a single entity that is downtown Olympia. When you look at Lacey, you don't have that same type of luxury. There's not a single spot. You can look at Huntermore Park, and that's more of like a business park. So there's lots of offices and other amenities there, but it's not a place you'd go down and just stroll around and see what's in the neat little shops there. And then you head out towards Hawks Prairie or down Meridian, or not Meridian, sorry, Martin, and you can see some of the other different spaces there. And those are also not just a place you're just gonna go for a walk and see what's around. Like I'm gonna go to this restaurant, and then as our food digests, we go for a walk around the block and pop into these couple different spots like I'm thinking specifically of like places like Captain Little in downtown Olympia, like little toy shops, or there's lots of little boutiques for clothing in downtown Olympia. We don't have a space like that or specifically like that, which makes it difficult for those little small businesses to really thrive because a lot of them rely on um, foot traffic in order to drive sales. And people will come there specifically for it, but also just walking by them and seeing something interesting in the window also draws you in. Without having that space, it makes it difficult for some of those smaller businesses to really thrive or to be attracted to come to Lacey in the first place. I think some of the ways that we can work on developing those spaces is through zoning, for uh, I think it's multi-use zoning, like where you can combine commercial and housing into a single block. For instance, like say small short apartment complexes or stacks where you have second floor condos, third floor condos, and the first floor is commercial, can help increase and develop that type of walkability for those small businesses. Um, or we can start looking at the different areas within Lacey and developing specific zones or commercial districts that have different distinct feels and different areas like that. For instance, like I mentioned with Huntermore Park already, there is kind of a distinct business park vibe to it. But if you go or if you have a different area that you're like, I want to develop it this way and have this distinct feeling, this for to make this neighborhood what it is, then that is another thing that we can do. And to help kind of develop and push uh, uh, the boundaries of what we consider a business area or commercial zoning.
Okay. Um, You seem like you have some interest in ability to commute without cars. Do you think Lacey is for example, a good biking town? Can it become one? Talk to us a little more about
Uh,
that.
yeah, so I think Lacey has parts that are well connected without the use of cars. So we have intercity transit's a wonderful resource here for us. Um, and the bus system being free is amazing. Oh my goodness, I love the fact that it's free. It lowers that barrier for people to get around. But I think we have, in terms of moving into more of a bicycle or pedestrian friendly city, there's a lot of growing room. As we know, and we can look at the history of how Lacey has grown, there's been a lot of annexation and kind of patchwork growth through Lacey. And so being able to kind of create a cohesive plan for how to lay out and to move about the city without the need of cars is an area that we could really kind of step up and refocus some of our efforts on, because the more that we can get around without cars, either through bicycles, through public transportation, through walking, the less cars we have on the road and the less congestion we have on our streets. So that is definitely a big driver for me. Unfortunately, I have some sciatic issues right now, so I'm not able to ride my bike as much. But that's why I was trying to go for a little walk earlier,
Okay.
to stretch my legs and to help out. Additionally, there's some really wonderful trails that connect different parts of our city, and I'm hoping that this upcoming Parks District passes the vote, I believe, in August, and that we can start expanding those trails and those connections further into the city and to connect the different parts.
Okay. We hear a lot about immigration recently, and it seems like it's all negative. Um, I guess you
Mm-hmm.
have some personal experience with it in that your father was an immigrant to this country, right? Could you talk to
Mm-hmm.
us a little bit
Yep.
about, do you think Lacey is a friendly city for immigrants? And, what can we do to welcome people here?
Um, right now, I think being an immigrant in general is just it's a scary proposition here in Washington, or here in the U.S., not necessarily Washington. I think Lacey is would be a friendly city. Yes, to answer your question directly, is that yes, Lacey is a immigrant friendly city. We have directives from the state and from Governor Ferguson about protecting immigrants' rights. We also have that further backed up by, uh, um, I think, directives or by the North Thurston Public School System. They have steps and protections in place for children of immigrants there, so that way people aren't being snatched from their classes. I think when it comes to making us a safer city or us more of a sanctuary city, I'm not sure. That is an area that I can do more research in, and I could definitely learn more about it. But I do think that right now we are doing as as best we can, and I think, but I always think that there's something more we could do. And right now, I don't know off the top of my head exactly what steps we can take as a city to help protect our immigrant neighbors more. All I know is that they're a part of our communities. They're paying the same sales tax that we're paying. They don't get any of the benefits of it. So I would love to keep them around. I want I want our communities to grow.
Okay. Well, with that, is there anything else that you'd like to tell us about? And can you tell us a little bit about how your campaign is going?
Yeah. So my campaign, I think is going great. I'm a first-time candidate, so I don't really have this like a whole lot of experience or background in which to compare it to. But yeah, for me, I think my campaign is doing well. I had my campaign kickoff last Saturday at Rainier Vista Park, which is just about a mile from our house. A nice little bike ride away. And we had about 30, 40 people show up, and about 10 to 12 kids running around playing in the playground and doing arts and crafts. And that was just wonderful. It was a really humbling to see that type of support from people in my community to rally around me, saying that they think I'm going to be a good choice for this. That was, uh, I think I'm a good choice, but it's always nice to hear other people say it.
Sure.
But yeah, right now I feel like since I don't have a primary, I am really just, I get to be in a place where I can explore and interact with more community events, and I have less pressure to go and put myself out there in a position to constantly be come vote for me, come vote for me. I get to actually sit down and listen and talk to people, hear what they hear what their issues are, what their experiences are, and I can incorporate that into my platform and learn things as I go. And that's a huge thing for me, because I know that what I see, what I experience, and how I move about the city is based in one or in a few different facets, like uh, being a young family, a homeowner, being a state employee. Like those are different ways that I move and I interact with my city and the way I see it. But I know that there are so many other versions, like between seniors, retirees, the active duty military, and the veterans here. Like those are all areas that I can definitely. I love to get their perspectives and to learn how they move and see this city as well. Um, yeah, I don't know if I have really anything else at this time. I'm just
You
excited
don't
to be a
have
part
to.
of this process. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
excited to be a part of the process and to be here. Like it's just a wonderful and an exciting and a little scary experience.
Well, we're excited to have you, and thank you very much.
Hmm.
And with that, we're done. But thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you out and about at different events.
Okay, outstanding.
All
See
right,
you.
bye.